Second half FC strikes again. Manchester United go to Brentford and get the 3 points, but it was not as easy as it sounds. Today we're going to be breaking down everything that happens because, after all, it is the breakdown. We are live. What's going on, guys?
You can talk.
Yeah, well, I'm just making sure. I didn't see anything play off there, but anyhow. What's up, guys? Greg B here, and welcome to the breakdown. Today, we are going to be discussing Manchester United's 3-1 victory over Brentford. Goals from Anthony Elanga, Mason Greenwood, and Marcus Rashford, giving Manchester United a much needed 3 points. So, was it good to watch? Well, that remains to be seen. We're going to break all of this down, and I'm not going to be doing this by myself. Today, I am joined by Big Phil, who finally finished eating all his chicken, and Mr. Tell It Like It Is himself, Tonio. What's good, brother? Gentlemen.
I'm good, bro. I'm good, bro. I'm good, bro. How you doing?
Hey, I'm glad we got the victory today and we got the 3 points in the bag. We are putting ourselves in a better position. It's been a struggle this season. Everybody who's watched us, how we played this season, and today was no different from that. But let's not go
Definitely.
into it more than we need to. Phil, I know you have a lot to say about today. Let's start how we normally would try to start this one. Let's talk about the lineups today. For everybody who saw what went on, we had some of the usual suspects, just a couple of changes. Anthony Elanga starting yet again. The return of Cristiano Ronaldo and Scott McTominay. And notable absentees were Luke Shaw, Edinson Cavani, and Jadon Sancho. Jadon Sancho having a death in the family, condolences to his family members, and injuries to both Luke Shaw and Edinson Cavani, respectively. Phil, I'm going to start with you. When you saw the lineup, what did you think?
I was pleased with the lineup because I knew that two players needed to be benched. That was Marcus Rashford and also Edison Cavani. So I I was kind of skeptical of Ronaldo starting because the team did look a tad bit better on the previous game without Ronaldo. Ronaldo being back into the squad, okay, cool, but he didn't do much today, right? So with regards to the back four, I think the back four was solid today, and we'll get into that later on in the show.
Exactly. Sonia, what's your take?
Definitely, it was not an impressive performance today. In terms of the lineup, I was pretty okay with it. I just like Phil. I wasn't really happy to see. I really wasn't happy to see Cristiano Ronaldo back into the lineup. But at the same time, he can do what he does as he did today. But it's not something I really want to see long term for this team. But definitely, 11 was fine with me. I was glad that Elanga was back, and I was glad that Harry was not starting again. And so it was a good sight to see. Yeah, it was a good sight to see. It was a good sight to see.
Just a little add as well too, right? Under the previous manager, we used to rush back players when they were injured, right? I wonder why
True.
Ralph had the audacity to start Ronaldo when he's rushing off of a hip injury, right?
Yes, correct.
So I was kind of surprised to see Ronaldo starting after miraculously recovering from a hip injury. I would have been okay with him coming on in the second half or whatever, right? But to see him start, yeah.
True. I mean, it's one of those things that you never seem to understand with Manchester United. Management tends to just make certain decisions that you don't think are the wisest ones. You have a player that you said had an injury, so he's not going to probably be as sharp as a player who probably played a game or two under their belts. Doesn't make sense to really put them in from the start. But
Correct.
so it happens. Ronaldo was there. McTominay was back as well too from suspension. And going into that first half, when we watched how we played, I was very, very unimpressed and just disappointed with the overall play. Give me your 2 cents on that, Tonio.
For me, I still can't understand. It's almost like our players, they don't know each other well. The lack of cohesiveness it's really strange to understand that at this level we can't see a specific type of play from these players. It's almost like they're not aware of where their teammates are going to be. Whereas you're watching Brentford and they will pass the ball from side to side, work the ball up the field, and they already know who is going to be where. So that for me it was a major concern. But what I can say the positive for the first half was is that we were still defensively solid alongside David. I mean, even with the centre back pairing of both Varane and Lindelof, you have two centre backs who can play with the ball at their feet. When teams are running at us and both of them on the back, I feel much less fear than when Harry is there. So it was disappointing to see the way that we carried about the game and the lack of cohesiveness, but we were with the ball, which was also important. So it still gave us a level of stability to push on to go into the second half.
I mean, and it's an alarming thing to see that these are guys that are training almost every day. These are guys that are supposed to understand each other, look at runs, look at certain tactics, know how to dispatch the ball when they know they have their teammates running ahead of them, or looking at overlaps. All these things are
Exactly.
things that are supposed to be practiced in training. But when you get
Basics.
on the
Basics.
pitch, especially when we saw in that first half, balls were being overhit, runs were being made out of time, players were in offside positions. And of course the usual tactic that we saw today from the Brentford players. They said the minute Cristiano Ronaldo touches that ball, close him down.
Of course.
Anytime he got a chance, there was like at least 2 or 3 Brentford players around him just to make sure he couldn't do anything properly with that ball. And
Yeah.
you would figure, if Ralph is a smart man, Ronaldo's going to be your number one target man. Don't you think you would have at least coached into the rest of the team? Okay, make some movements around them so that you can use the fact that they are double teaming and triple teaming Ronaldo and expose the space left. Phil, what do you think? What do you think's going wrong there? Is that a lack of intelligence from some of these players, or is it just poor coaching?
At the end of the day, football is all about decision making, right? You don't have to be programmed to pass the ball to Ronaldo all the time, right? Use Ronaldo as the benefit, as in Ronaldo's the luxury player who's going to lure away about 2 or 3 players away from the midfield. Use that to your advantage.
Exactly.
If Ronaldo shifting out to the right or to the left, right, and he's luring about 2 or 3 players, then run into that space where those previous 2 or 3 players were. Run into that space, right? With regards to the first half, it was all about hit and hope FC. It's all about we were hitting the ball and hoping it find a guy in blue and yellow, right? I was messaging a couple of people and I told them I can predict when United is on the counter attack and the ball is passed to Alex Telles, he's going to do one thing and one thing only: stop and cross. He's not going to take on anybody. He's going to stop and cross versus Diego Dallo, who's going to probably get the ball, look up, and then run with it into space, right? When Telles can have an acre of space in front of him, he'd rather stop the ball and cross, right? But just to end off, you saw how poor the first half was when we had to call upon David De Gea so many times.
Oh yeah, I was actually about to get to that. I was actually about to get to that. Yes, I was actually about to get to that because there were a couple of instances where Ivan Toney had chances, and he could have put it either side of David De Gea, and they are just pulling us out of the fire yet again in those instances. I mean, what is it going to take for these guys to stop putting De Gea in those kinds of situations? I mean, these are world-class defenders, players who are internationals for their country, and you think defensive positioning on a break should be something that you should be prepared for almost 99% of the time. It's a scary thing to know that we can be so easily exposed. Thankfully, the 2 shots Ivan Toney had were of little to no effect to us, and we went into the half goalless. Second half, Manchester United looked like a horse of a different color. And I have to say this. I have to give a round of applause to Anthony Elanga for the persistence, for the resilience to find himself in that position. In spite of, basically, when he touched the ball at first, it looked like it was a mistrap. And he was able to use his head, literally, and put it past the goalkeeper, giving us the 1-goal lead. I mean, how much have you been impressed with Anthony Elanga's development over these last few weeks? Tonio?
Forget about the last few weeks. Let's talk about from the beginning of the season. He has been in and around the first team setup. And he has not been given an opportunity. He was not given an opportunity by a certain Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But yet all of a sudden that Ralph is in and players are now getting picked based on merit and not on name. And If I were Anthony Elanga, I would be smelling blood in the water because Marcus Rashford is performing poorly. The coach is giving me the nod ahead of Sancho and Rashford because he benched both of them the last game also. And I hope that this youth continues to push on and do well because he has the right attitude. He is hungry. Because I'm telling everybody, if that was Marcus Rashford today, he was not getting to that goal. He was not scoring that goal. He would not have even been in the mix of it. You understand? So that's the difference that you're getting today, and he got his just due. So I hope to see him in and around the team a lot more. And this is not me hating on Marcus. I want him to take a look and say, hey, time for me to wake up, which is what he kind of did today. You know, you're realizing your position is under threat. So now I have to work for it. I have to make my way into this team because it's no longer guaranteed. And that's what we need to see. But thumbs up to Anthony.
Yeah, and I think that's only fair because at the end of the day, you reap what you sow. The persistence and the ability to show up yourself, impress in training, and on top of that, reap the rewards today, as that goal would have been in that sense. It really just goes to show that he's really progressing. He's really understanding
Yeah,
that, hey, I am on the fringes of this team, and I'm making waves. Keep my head down. Keep putting in displays like this, and before you know it, I'll be a regular in this team. I'll be getting more games. I'll be getting more time.
of
We'll see
course.
what happens. Phil.
Here's the thing now, right?
Yes, Phil.
When Anthony Elanga started a couple weeks back, I told people, I don't care how Anthony Elanga plays, start him the next game. I don't care because we've been giving chances to people in this team when they've been doing crap week in, week out. Anthony Elanga can put in a 10 out of 10 performance or a minus 10 out of 10 performance. Start him again. I don't care.
Yeah, and
But
I mean,
it worked out. It worked out in our favor because Anthony Langer has been playing well. Wasn't that great in the
Yes,
first
yes.
half, but definitely took that goal in the second half well. And once he took that goal, his confidence started to grow, right? Play him the
and
next game. I don't care about anybody else. Play him and start him the next game.
yeah, and that's only gonna do wonders for his development going further because the
Of
more he
course. Of
gets
course.
accustomed to being in the first team, the more he can be at adapt. And if he can keep that level up to show that kind of energy and that ability to be a dynamic player that he has shown over these last couple of games, it's only gonna bode well for him going forward in the future. And
Yes, it is.
second goal was a nice little breakaway. Cristiano Ronaldo with the chest pass to find Bruno Fernandes, who would lay it off to Mason Greenwood and make it 2-0 Manchester United. Run me through that. Run me through that goal, guys. What were you thinking when you saw that breakaway happen? Tonio, let me start with you.
For me, you're speaking about the one where Ronaldo chested it onto Bruno.
Yes, that one.
It was beautiful to see, and I love the fact that Bruno did what he did today because he needs to realize that this is his team. He needs to keep realizing that this is his team. Stop conceding to the image that is Cristiano Ronaldo in the Portugal team and in the United setup. The what led up to the goal was amazing. Watching Bruno and also Mason, who had a great game today. Also, he was very
Yes.
very clinical with the opportunities that he got. But the build up to the play was amazing to see. Was amazing to see.
Phil, run me through when you saw it.
Let's talk about what happened before
Scott
the play.
McTominay. Yes,
Yeah.
man.
No,
Yes,
no,
man.
no.
Yes, man.
That's two.
Yes,
That's two
man.
goals.
Go
That's
right
two
ahead.
goals.
Go right ahead. Go right
Yeah.
That's
ahead. Go
two.
right ahead.
That's two goals that we scored today because the breakup was done by
Big
Scott
Scott. Yeah.
McTominay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't get
People,
me
I'll
wrong.
say
Don't get me
one
wrong.
thing. I'll say one thing before you continue.
Mhm.
People laugh at me when I say that in terms of being a captain in this team, that Scott McTominay has all the right qualities. He just has to be in the right dynamic and the right setup. But you continue.
Yeah, Phil, good.
Yeah, because like don't get me wrong. The highlights will be on probably Ronaldo chesting the ball to Bruno and Bruno laying it off to Mason Greenwood. But put some respect on who broke up the play before Scott
Thank
McTominay.
you.
Okay, don't get me wrong. I love the team play for the goal, but if that goal would have happened if that ball was not broken up by the midfield.
And
Remember,
progress, not just broken up. He progressed the ball after he broke up the player. He did.
correct, correct.
And this just highlights what Scott McTominay's best attributes are in a lot of ways because his ability to break up play, he has a nice shot on him from time to time when he
He
can get in the
does. He
box.
definitely
So
does.
it's something that you can see that he's still. I think there's still a bit of a development curve when it comes to Scott McTominay because he's still young. So there's so much more he can really add to his game as he grows into the team. And like you said, Tonio, he really has those leadership qualities that you can see someone who's really becoming and finding himself within that team. He's not always going to
Yeah.
be the first choice player, because I
No,
mean,
no,
there's always gonna be instances where because of tactics or because the midfield dynamic, depending on who we're playing, will require a bit more flair. So the likes of the Paul Pogba's and other players will come into play there. But he
correct.
did his job very, very well today, and you have to give him very much kudos for that. And
Yeah.
then finally, third goal coming from the returning Marcus Rashford coming off the bench. I think in a situation like this, until Marcus Rashford really finds back his best form, because clearly he's under threat from Anthony Elanga, I think this is a situation where we're going to have to leave Marcus on the bench a little bit more.
Yeah, of course, of course, of
Phil, do
course,
you agree?
of course.
So I was discussing this with a couple of people prior to the game, right? Because they saw the lineup and they saw Marcus Rashford wasn't starting, right? I know, but nobody was surprised, right? But Marcus Rashford needs some bench time to find back his confidence because Anthony Elanga is going to take his position if he's not careful, right? Yeah, you can feed a million children, but what goes on the pitch is what's reflected in tomorrow's newspaper,
Mm-hmm.
right? Anthony Elanga scores.
Yep.
Anthony Elanga scores goal for Manchester United. That's what's going to make the headlines, not Marcus Rashford feeding children tomorrow. Okay, but
Well,
I'm glad Marcus Rashford was able to score a goal, and this does well for his
mm-hmm.
confidence. Will I start him next game? No, that's just a knee jerk reaction in my opinion, right? Marcus Rashford hold a little bit of bench, and it's not the worst thing in the world.
Of
Hold
course.
some bench and let Anthony Elanga do his thing. When Anthony Elanga is maybe looking tired, or maybe he's dropping a little bit of form, which I hope he doesn't,
Mm.
then maybe you can warrant a place to start. But until then, good goal. But next match, I hope you're on the bench.
Mhm. Sorry to have to bring a damper into this whole situation, but once again, we see on the negative side of things, no place for Anthony Martial to get any game time today. I don't know how much that does for him and the relationship with Ralph Rangnick, because at the way things are is already on a thin line as regards like how they're gonna be able to interact. Tonio, what do you think this means for Anthony Martial right now? I mean, will this push him
My,
faster out the door any more than he already wants to be?
my thing is, there is no thin line. You have come out and stated that you want to leave, that you no longer want to be here. I am the coach. I can understand your qualities as a player, but I don't have to be accommodating to you. You expressed yourself that you no longer want to be here, which means that technically you can say whatever you want to the press, but I can't trust you 100%, trust you to give me 100% on the pitch. It's not like Paul's situation where he's still unsure. He said he wants a new environment. So Anthony needs to really gain the trust of the coach if he wants to get any playing time at all, because clearly the January transfer window is winding down and his wages appear to be a problem for a lot of teams.
Yeah.
So he needs to concede. He needs to concede somewhere. But I want to see him go elsewhere. I want to see him do well. But definitely, I have no problem with how Ralph is dealing with Anthony. None at all.
Today was one of those days where it's like you watch the whole situation and it kind of makes you wonder if it even made sense for Anthony Elanga to, well, for Anthony Martial to even be carried to the into the first team squad, because it's like, for as much as Ralph was saying that he wants to give him a chance, it basically comes as empty words, because now this will probably make Anthony Martial even more incensed that he will want to leave now. So
But
Phil,
I'll ask you a
what do
question,
you?
Greg.
Mhm.
Do you think that Anthony Martial is currently going 100% in training right now? Do you think that's the case?
Honestly,
I
given
I so
what's transpired,
you, mhm.
given
I
what's
really don't.
transpired, I think. Yeah, sorry, good. Sorry, go ahead, Tony.
Yeah, I am sure, I am unsure on whether or not he is, but definitely the coach man is he wants to see the effort in training so it can be transitioned onto the field. So if I'm not seeing you giving 100% in training, or if you're not 100% dedicated because your mind is elsewhere, your head has been turned, you no longer want to be here, how can I trust you to give me 100% on the pitch? So as I say, I fully understand. I fully understand.
All right, before we go any further, I just want to acknowledge everybody in the comment section. Good afternoon to the likes of Gareth Telfer, Carlton Augustin, Jeffrey Griffith, Valentino Singh. Just want to talk to the producers in the background. If you can just get a chance to put up the comments for us so we can just have a chance to read them out. Acknowledge everybody in the comments there as well too. So good evening, thank you. Don't forget to like, share, comment on the videos, and let us know how you feel. Phil,
I uh,
yeah, good.
I want to go back to Marcus Rashford's goal.
Okay.
What happened before Marcus Rashford's goal? Scott McTominay breaking up the play, I lean off to Bruno. No, no, don't get me wrong. I've been a big critic of Scott McTominay for the last couple of seasons, right? But you got to give Jack his jacket, right? Scott McTominay played well today. Scott McTominay was the reason for two of those goals today, right? But even if we didn't score, Scott McTominay played well today. Probably a 9.5 out of 10 today, right?
Yeah.
Definitely.
So kudos to Scott for playing well today and made this purple patch or made this form carry forward from now to the end of the season, right?
And that's all we can really ask from Scott McTominay, to just put his best foot forward, because you really love the club, so we want to see you thrive and go forward as much as you can. And unfortunately, as we were going in, we were looking like we were in cruise control as the second half was winding down. But I've come to the conclusion that Manchester United are allergic to clean sheets.
And you wouldn't believe.
I feel like it's like we are allergic to clean sheets, because it's like, oh, clean sheet.
20 seconds before the goal scored, all I said to myself was, all I want is a clean sheet. Then bam. And it's just it's the manner in which we concede these goals is almost like if we just shut off mentally, because I just have one thing to add though. Why is our set piece coach still in a job? Because this is getting absolutely ridiculous. It's getting absolutely ridiculous. Ridiculous.
I gotta read a picture that I saw online. We've had 107 corners.
Yeah.
0 goals.
Yes.
I can tell you right now, a partner of mine put it like this. He say, watch man, you can't ask a Manchester United player to sell anything on the block, because we can't hold our corner at all, boy.
No.
Damn right.
True.
Yeah.
Very, very true.
Yeah.
It is insane. Marvin Springer is also saying hope that Scott McTominay's back is okay. Yeah, thanks for that. I know he took a nasty fall. Him and Alex Telles were also in a bit of the wars as well too, because they got a couple of tackles that went in pretty tough. Going to Brentford is no easy feat, because we know the way that their manager sets up. It's basically similar to how Marcelo Bielsa sets up Leeds United. They may not have the best tactical nous, but they will run you into the ground if you give them a chance. And personally, I am all for that, because at the end of the day, it shows me that you're dedicated and you're sticking to your guns either way. Granted, of course, there's always going to be a need for a tactical switch, but still.
I see somebody in the comments said Matt McTominay should be given a chance to take corners. Matt McTominay is 6'2", 6'3".
Why?
Why? He's one of our best handlers of the ball too. So
Carlton, that's almost like asking for Phil Jones to come back and take corners. I don't think that's a good idea. Let's leave Scott to be in the box when a corner's being sent in, so he can win a header.
I'd rather have Scott on the edge of the box. Let's say the corner taker wants to lay off to him and Scott take a shot and see what happens.
What are we going to ask for next? David De Gea to take free kicks? Anyway. So yeah, guys, it was brilliant. It was a brilliant display to see those goals go in. Of course, like I said, no clean sheet again for David De Gea. He's eluding from tying. I think it's Grant Bailey. I think is the man who's just ahead of him. He has 161 clean sheets. David De Gea still on 160. Sooner or later, that has to come to an end, and Manchester United need to do better defensively. Overall, gentlemen, when you look at how we played today from the second half, it's evidently clear that this team needs to get out of this bad habit of allowing the first half stop being a 45-minute team, because better teams will punish us for those lapses, and I think it's something that needs to be addressed. So, 25 minutes in, I want us to get into the ratings. We're gonna just go down the line here, right? So we're gonna start from the back. David De Gea, Phil,
9. Sorry, no, actually no. I'll say 8 because he conceded 1 goal, so I'll say 8. Yeah.
Okay, Tonio.
I'll give him an 8.5. But you know what? Scrap that. I'll give him a 9 because I wouldn't even blame him for the goal that was conceded. Because you have a defense for a reason, and come on, it's absolutely ridiculous, man. The box was crowded, so it's tough for goalkeepers in situations like that. So I'll give him a 9.
All right. So also, everybody in the comments, please give me your ratings on the players as well too as we go along, because we want to get your opinions on them too. And if you want to explain why you gave them these ratings, feel free. So it's more. We're more than welcoming those things. Let's start with the right back, Diogo Dallo.
First half was a bit shaky.
Hmm.
Second half was a tad bit better, but I not going to give him anything higher than a six, honestly.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Carlton says he's giving De Gea an 8. All right. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Tonio, what about you with Diogo Dallo?
Yeah, I agree with the six for Dalot today, even though he was one of our better players, especially the second half, and I want to see him continue pushing on. But we know that he can be a bit of a liability defensively. But for what
Hmm.
he's giving going forward and his enthusiasm and how he's working, yeah, he'll get a 630. It's not one of
Yeah.
his best games that he's had for us, but he had a solid game today.
I mean, he did have that one moment where he took a shot that just kind of zipped over the crossbar. So I mean, he clearly has that willingness to go forward and try and take a shot.
The
So
desire, the
yes,
desire, you have to love it, the desire.
Aaron Wan-Bissaka, take notes. But yeah, so centre backs now. Rafael Varane.
7.5. I thought
Okay.
I thought he was pretty solid. Um, and I give him an extra point five is because I think Victor Lindelof is looking better next to him, right? You know, some players are good, but then when you have a player next to you that elevates your game, that's just the point five I'm giving to Rafael Varane for also making Victor Lindelof look good today, and he was also solid as well today. So
All right. Tonio.
Yeah, that's exactly the point I was going. That's exactly the point I was going to make. Also, where Varane is concerned, he makes Victor better simply because Victor can actually play the way that he can actually play. He does not have to overly compensate for a certain English defender. If you understand what I'm saying, he can focus on his job and do what he has to do. He has a defender who is at the side of him who he can trust with the ball at his feet and not have to know to himself, I can't really push forward too much because I have to compensate for this English guy next to me. So I would give him a 7.5 also.
Clearly, no love for Harry Maguire. Carlton Augustine is saying that
Zero.
Bruno has taken most of the corners. We need to do something different. I think I did see Alex Tellez take a couple of corners coming down to the end of the game as well too. So Tellez has that in his locker. Also, we see that Marvin Springer has given Dallo an 8. Interesting. That's an interesting rating. Carlton Augustine is giving Varane a 6.5. Christian Dalrymple, hey, good evening, bro. He's giving De Gea an 8, Dalot a 6, Varane a 8, Lindelof a 8, and Tellez a 7. So he covered the whole back line in one shot. Oh, man. Also, so all right. So with that covered, okay. Well, you guys didn't give me a rating on Alex Tellez. So let me start, Tonio. Let me get yours.
I'll give Alex a 7 simply because I know whenever he's on the pitch, I'll get 100% out of him, whether he's having a great game or not. So that alone accounts for a lot for me. Just like what Phil was saying earlier, I wish that he would actually take on defenders a lot more in positions where he
Hmm.
can actually do so instead of we know you have great cross off the ball, but there's moments for that. It's time and place for everything. It can't be you can't become too predictable. You may not be the
Right.
quickest, and I think that his pace is something that probably concerns him a little bit in terms of taking on defenders. But I mean, you can be very intelligent on the ball and switch up your game a little bit, make it a little more dynamic. But I will give him I'll give him a 6.5 today.
Right. Okay, Phil, tell us.
yeah, tell us 6.5 for me. Was a bit too predictable when we were on the counter. Like when he was given the ball, is always looking up instead of like driving into space and looking to see if you can take on the opposition. Just don't be so predictable, right? Because it's almost like when the opposition wants Tellez to get the ball, they know that that he's going to do one thing. He's going to look to find the tallest player in the box, is hit and hope, right? So I want to see him going forward more. If that was Luke Shaw was going forward,
True. True.
right? Tellez 6.5 today, not his best day today, but today wasn't a bad day at office either. So
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's fair to say that we've seen Alex Telles as capable of so much. I think when he was at Porto, he had a little bit more of the freedom and the luxury to go forward and get more into the box because I mean, the guy was the captain of the team, so he was able to do everything. He took every set play, so he has the capabilities to be a dynamic player when he's on. So I think with more time and with the recall to the Brazil national team would be a good morale boost as well for him as well too. So I'm
Agree.
glad to see that. So I agree with you guys. It wasn't his greatest game. I'll give him a 6 as well. On to the midfield. Scott McTominay.
No rating, man of the match. No rating. No, I dead serious. No rating, man of the match. Next person.
Fair enough. Antonio, you agree?
Big point five. He'll get an 11 from me today because he was an absolute I'll give him an 11 today because it seemed like he couldn't put a foot wrong. He did everything that, and I think my thinking with Scott is, and even with Fred, is that once these guys aren't overloaded with defensive work, you can actually see how they can express themselves in their game. I think when they're left for dead, clearly you won't see the best out of them, which is what happens with our forwards sometimes. They leave them with a little too much to do. So it was good to see him. Good to see him today. He absolutely bossed the game. He bossed the game.
All right. Fred.
Fred didn't play bad today, Fred gave away the ball a couple of times, which had me a bit upset, right?
But did he get an assist?
Yeah, he did get an assist.
Yeah.
Okay. Just asking.
Fred got the assist for the first goal for Elanga.
Yeah.
But
he played the ball over the top. Yeah, that was Fred.
Fred also broke a couple of plays as well too. I'm gonna give Fred a 7 today. A 7.
Nice. Yeah, he did call him Fred. He did call him Fred Gadabits at one point.
Yeah. I fully agree with the 7 simply because he was solid today. He was very solid today. And what I like about Fred is that if he can eradicate these mistakes, these things can be coached too also. If he can eradicate the mistakes out of his game, because you know what I love about Fred? If Fred makes an error, you can almost guarantee that he's going to make up for it somewhere down the line or somewhere later down in the game. Yeah, he always makes up for it. So what I want for him is to cut out the errors, so all we can see is the positive sides of his game, and I think they'll be in good stead. So, and I mean, every single coach that has come in continues to play him, and it says something. It says something, and he's adding goals and assists to his game this season. If you guys are understanding what is going on, it's Scott. So
that's 2 assists in 2 matches now, I think. Yeah.
Correct. So it cannot be unseen. So the 7 is good for him today.
Yeah, I mean, and he didn't have the most stellar of games, but he was still impactful in his own way. So it was good to see. It was very, very good to see. And now, Big Phil's best friend, Bruno Fernandes.
Bruno gets a 7.5 for the 2 assists. Bruno in these last 2 games has looked disciplined, right? There were other games where Bruno was looking a bit headless, but Bruno was looking a bit more disciplined. Yeah, there were times he was trying to be, trying to play that Hollywood pass, right? But I think in the second half, Bruno making the, like I said at the beginning of this program, football is all about decision making, right? Bruno's ability to just do a simple pass to Marcus Rashford, a simple pass to Mason Greenwood. Bruno could have easily gone for goal, He could have. But if the keeper would have saved it, all of us would have been cursing Bruno Fernandes right now.
You especially.
Not me, true. But lay it off to Mason Greenwood, and that was 2-0, right? So Bruno Fernandes gets a
and that's the mark of a team player in itself, because you see the option there. You tell yourself, all right, I have a chance at glory, but you have an option there to make sure it's more secure. Lay it off to your teammate. You make sure you secure the bag. That's how we had to look at it. So Antonio, your rating on Bruno.
People may disagree with me today, but I'll actually give Bruno like a 7, and I'll tell you why. I get upset with Bruno a lot because there are certain players that you look for certain levels on a team. Mm-hmm. And consistently, Bruno gets along, he gets his assists, he gets his goals, but you have to look at the amount of chances that he takes. There are a lot of things that he does that are basic to Kevin De Bruyne. Basic, absolutely basic. Underweighted passes in crucial moments. Things like that make all the difference in games. And too often, he is wasteful in those moments. So that's where my problem is with Bruno. And that's something that you can work out of your game. Because I was under the impression that when he gets tired, he gets a bit leggy, his passes get short. But I was seeing in the 15th and 21st minute today where he gave absolutely short passes in brilliant moments. And those are things that it kills your momentum in a game. So I want him to be on the training pitch. Yeah, I want him to be on the training pitch more, working on how clinical he is when he actually has the ball. It's one thing to take 1,000,001 chances, but Instead of taking 15 chances and scoring 2 goals, I want you to take those. I want you to take 5 or 7 chances and score the same 2 goals. Be more clinical in those moments. It is extremely important because when you look at the likes of City and Liverpool, they are nobody's getting short passes in those moments and with those teams, and because they take advantage of these moments, and we have to learn that because you cannot be the focal point where the ball is coming through you and your team and you're being as wasteful as you are with the ball. So I want him to definitely work on that, and I think United will be in much better set. But I'll give him a 7 today.
And just to touch on that with City, Pep has no problem when we're going to Daddy Mansour and be like, I need.
The funny thing is, if Bruno was at City doing what he's doing at United with these passes, he would not be in the starting lineup for City. That is a big fact. Because one thing with Pep is you must be able to take care of the ball. Pep would be cussing Bruno left, right and center with some of the short passes that he is giving because these things are basic to the likes of Kevin De Bruyne. You have to have your levels up there. So he needs to raise his level a bit if we are to push on and get anywhere near these top teams.
Definitely, and I mean, just like Carlton's also saying in the comments that our passing is a problem. I mean, we've seen it all season. It's just been one of those things where it seems like there's some points we overhit passes, we underhit passes, and then in some games we look like we can't even string 5 passes together. What do you think? I need this is a thing piece here. Phil, let me ask you this first. What do you think it is going to take for Manchester United to really find that right balance when it comes to get a proper passing rhythm, as regards like not just in one game, but at least like 3-4 games consecutively?
Yeah. I said this. I said this on a different podcast, and the guys thought I was joking. I will lock the entire midfield in a room with a football and leave them there for an hour. Pass it till you die. Pass it to you and turn off the lights as well too, because then you'll know where each person is playing. Leave them in there for voice. Leave them in there for an hour. You will be so tired of passing to the guy who is in the left after 2 minutes and the right after 10 minutes, because then you will have the ability to know where certain players are. We could not. There are times I see United play this sweet football, but how often do we get it? Right, we'll see United put together 5 or 6 pretty looking passes, spraying the passes left and right, and we're like, whoa! But you will not get that reaction from a City fan or a Liverpool fan, because City and Liverpool are accustomed to playing that type of football.
Accustomed, right? So
put about 5 or 6 midfielders in a room with a football, turn off the light, and just tell them pass to each other. That's it.
It's something that seems to be just innately drilled in them when they know they're part of a team, because they know they have a system that they have to fall apart. They have to follow in, or they're just gonna fall out and not get any time on the field. Now we go to the forward line. Let's start off with boy wonder himself, Anthony Elanga. Phil.
Scored the goal. I'm gonna give him a 7.5. That was a well taken goal, right? To control it still in the air and then to head it into the goal. That was a very well taken goal. Looked more confident when he took the goal as well too, right? I'm glad he also got 90 minutes, so I'm gonna give him a 7.5. So well done, and may this form continue from now to the end of the season.
Yep. Tonio?
I'll give Anthony Elanga 8, simply because the effort he gave today, the willingness, as I said, if Marcus Rashford is in that same position, he was getting nowhere near that goal. He wasn't even going to be in the thick of it. He almost scored against Villa also. And what I like about Anthony is that he can create for himself. He can take a ball and create something in an instant. As I said, he almost did it against Aston Villa when the ball, was just off the post there. So it's something more I want to see from him. And as I said, Marcus used to be like this when he just came into the team, I remember, I think the first game LVG brought him in, he scored 2 goals for us with his head. When was the last time? When was the last time did you see Marcus really getting in the mix of it, trying to get his head on the ball? And you don't see it anymore.
That is why I tell people I am so disappointed in Marcus Rashford. Listen to this now. Marcus Rashford scored on his Champions League debut, his Europa League debut, his England debut. He scored
Premier League debut
versus Arsenal. His Premier League debut. He scored in his Manchester Derby debut as well too. right?
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
tell myself, this guy has nothing but the sky to reach for. That's why I'm so
correct.
disappointed in what he has been doing thus far for this entire season, and even some of us, right?
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah.
okay, this is something that keeps continuously alarms me when it comes to these situations. Some of these players just start off all hot and sweaty, and then all of a sudden, as time passes, they just begin to plateau. What is it that these players can't just find a way to keep themselves that level of energy and that hunger that they need to
Hunger,
succeed?
that
Because
hunger.
It's called
they need to
ego.
remember. They need
It's
to
called
remember that
ego.
when as they're getting up in the game, as they're getting a reputation, yes, people are going to know who you are. But when you're on the football field, people are going to have a closer eye on you. And it's up to you to raise your game and elevate it so that everybody will realize, okay, I am not a one trick pony. I am not a one hit wonder. I'm not a flash in the pan. What is what do you think psychologically? Tony, I want to ask you this. What do you think is going on in some of these players' minds in the likes of, like, let's use some of these suspects here, like the Marcus Rashfords, like the Anthony Martials, like the Jesse
Muscles.
Lindards.
I
What do
think
you
the
think's going
problem
on with these guys?
was it's almost as if you think that they got way too much, way too fast. If that makes sense to you.
No, it does.
I'm not talking about in terms of the level of responsibility placed on them in terms of the football for United, but in terms of the material things, the money. And I think that's something that these fellows got so I mean, you can't say that Marcus didn't work for what is his because he
True.
came into the team with a bang. So you have to give respect to that. But to maintain that hunger, maintain that desire after you've gotten the money and gotten all the fame, they get notarized for all other things besides what you're actually supposed to be being paid for, which is football. That has to be a concern for you. So I don't know what is the issue, but it has to be a part of the culture at Manchester United also that has bred the mentality of some of these players. Because as I said, when Marcus came back from injury, he went straight back into the team. And I was upset because it's like there is no work on merit. You can't just come on, I don't care who you are. You can't just come and walk right back into the team. You need to work to get in there. Somebody was playing there while you were injured for the beginning of the season till now. You have to come and work for your place. So I think with Ralph, as I said, you play based on your merit. You're giving me and showing me in training. I'm going to give you opportunity on the pitch.
And I think.
That's unless he has already made up his mind about you. And I don't think he's a fan of Luke Shaw or one back Saka. I really don't think so.
Yeah, well, I think if it's one thing we all knew that when we were watching Charles Ferguson when he was putting his teams together, soon, even though he may have won the league or won a Champions League, whenever he won any kind of silver, he wasn't resting on it and celebrating too much. He was
At
thinking about,
all.
okay, you know what are we gonna do next year, because these
What
guys are gonna come
next?
back harder.
Yeah.
You
What
can't just
next?
sit back and expect everybody to be intimidated by you. You always have to be one step ahead of
Correct.
your opponents. So I think in
Correct.
itself, like you said, it's something that needs to be integrated into the youngsters coming up. And now that Anthony Elanga is continuously contending for that starting position, it should only drive Marcus Rashford to push himself even more going forward. Now,
Exactly.
now we move on to the other two members of the front line. We'll start off with Mason Greenwood. Phil.
Um, simple goal, so that gives him some points onto the board. I gonna probably give him a 7.5 as well too. Was a bit quiet in the first half. Thought he would have been taking on more of the opposition, right? But in the second half, looked better. Was smart enough to not be offside for the goal, because I've
Mhm.
seen many players put themselves offside for that simple pass, right? And
Very
a
true.
lot of players thinking that, you know what, it's just me and you versus the goalkeeper. No, 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 no. It's where that ball is, where and when that ball is passed. Okay, and
Mhm.
Yeah.
that may seem simple, but some players mess that up, right? And kudos
Very true.
to Mason Greenwood for, being in position to take that goal well. We moved to love up, and yeah, 7.5 for Mason Greenwood.
All right. All right. That's good, Antonio.
Yeah, I agree. I'll give Mason a 7.5. He had a solid game today. I just want him to be more intelligent on the ball in the final third, and he doesn't understand how amazing he can be. He can add so many assists to his game if he knows when and where to be selfish. Because in that same moment, do you think that Mason was going to square to anybody there? We
Hell
know
no.
Mason was going to go. We know Mason was going to go for goal because that's his first instinct. His first
Hmm.
instinct is to score rather than to what is actually best for the team in that very moment. That's to go 2-1 up. It's not about you getting that goal. It's what is the most sensible play, which was to square the ball, which is why he got his goal today. If he chose to do that so many other times this season, we would be in better positions also. But as I said, he's young, so it's not a worry for me. He'll get
Yeah.
there.
That's very true. I mean, he is considered one of the best finishers in the team. So
Yeah,
the, you
yeah.
know the innate desire to always want to get on the score sheet, and Bruno basically filling that need today. Now we come to Cristiano Ronaldo. Antonio, what your rating on him?
Um, I'll give Cristiano a 7 today. I'm not, it's not about hating on him for what he gave on the pitch, facilitating the goal. I'm not gonna give him his grade based on what he did after he left the pitch. I'll give him it based on what he did on the pitch. So I'll give him a 7 today. It was a nice assist, and he can be very clinical in those type of moments.
All right, Phil.
Um, I was thinking either 6.5 or 7, but I'll go with 6.5 because other than him chasing down the ball for Bruno that led to the Mason Greenwood goal, I can't think of any other thing where he made an impact, right? So I'm gonna give him a 6.5 for his performance today, right? And that's about it.
All right. Let's go to the substitutes that were used. We're gonna start with Harry Maguire.
Um,
Did
All
Harry
right,
Maguire?
guys. Don't look so depressed talking about the man's name. All right, let's at least try to be fair and get him at least a modest rating. He didn't do much. I'll
I'll
start. I'll give him
I'll
a
put
4.
a I'll put a N/H. It's called not applicable. It's not applicable. I'm not gonna blame the goal that he conceded on him today, but I can't really judge what he did. I mean, he came on. I can understand why Ralph brought him on, but I won't give
I
him a 0,
initially
so I'll just say not applicable.
I initially was saying that he was probably coming on because I know Tellez had taken a knock earlier, so probably just to safeguard
Okay.
Tellez, maybe they wanted to switch to a back 3. So that's probably his purpose. But clearly, he came on for Ronaldo. That
Yeah.
one kind of alarmed me. That substitution
It
in
was
itself.
weird. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was
because I'm saying to
weird.
myself, why are you taking on Cristiano Ronaldo and bringing on Harry Maguire? What's going on there? What's your train of thought in that situation? Anyway, Phil probably just like want me to just like, yeah, can we just move on?
No,
Like,
no, no. I was gonna say Harry Maguire gets an NA as well too because he didn't do much to warrant a rating per se. Like he
I
just
rate
came
him
on,
basically.
he came on, defended, passed out the ball, game over. That was about
all
it.
right, fair enough,
Yeah.
fair enough. And then
It was Matic next, I think.
yes, Nemanja Matic.
NA as well
Yeah,
too.
basically the same. Basically the same.
Yeah.
Basically the same. I don't think they came on and really had much of an impact on the
Right.
game per se.
All right. I think it was only 2 substitutions he made. I can't remember if he made a third.
Yeah, Matic on for Scott and Tellez. Actually, no. Greenwood got subbed off, I think.
Well, who came on for him though?
Who did Marcus Rashford come off?
I know. Yeah, he took off Greenwood and brought on Rashford. Took off
Yeah, he took-
Ronaldo and brought on Harry.
So Rashford,
That's I
Matic,
think that
and,
yeah.
yeah, Rashford, Matic, and Maguire.
Yeah, that's about
Maguire.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, okay. Well, yeah, I guess we covered everybody going throughout that whole setup there. But one thing that stuck out for me, like we mentioned earlier, after Cristiano Ronaldo got subbed off, he seemed to be quite annoyed. If anybody noticed, he was arguing. I don't know if it was with Ralph. I don't know if it was one of the teammates. Um, what do you think? I mean, we know at the end of the day, he didn't really impact the game, so it kind of only made sense to really take him off because you're not going to keep a player on the team that's not really bringing much. I mean, outside from the chest pass to Bruno, you barely did anything for the game. I mean, what would you say to Cristiano Ronaldo in a situation like that, Phil?
I can look at it at 2 ways, right? Because most people are saying that Ronaldo got subbed because he didn't want to get subbed, or Ronaldo was upset because he got subbed, or Ronaldo was upset because he put in a poor performance, right? I can understand the latter because he didn't make an impact today. So, with a winning mentality and the level he's played at for God knows how long, I can tell why he was upset. But if he was upset that he got subbed, then I'll be a bit disappointed because a hip injury isn't something that you just look to play and exert for a full 90 minutes. It's a hip injury. It's
Yeah.
not like a calf or another muscle injury. It's a hip. It's a joint. It joins the leg to the upper body, right? So that definitely is an injury you definitely have to look after. Hip and knee, those two joints are the two parts of your body you must look after well.
Yeah.
Um, if he's upset because he got subbed, then you got to chill. Ronaldo, yes, you probably still have the mindset that you are still 23, 24 years old, right? But you're 36 years old, right?
Yeah. Your
You're
body's
you're
gonna
you're
say otherwise.
exactly right. Your best colors we will want to preserve for the Champions League. Okay,
Facts.
you can play a full 180 minutes in Champions League. I don't
Yeah.
care,
Yeah,
but in the
you got a Diego Simeone to disappoint again.
exactly. But
Yeah.
the Premier League is a bit more rough than the Champions League. So I'd
Yeah, especially
rather
especially from the last time since he was here. I mean, 2009 is a far cry from 2022. Let's be honest. Tonio, what did you make of that whole situation with Cristiano Ronaldo?
I understand what Phil was saying in terms of him being disappointed about his performance, and that could have possibly. I don't think that is it at all. Simply because I wasn't seeing that look on his face while he was playing the entire 70 minutes at all. He seemed to be perfectly fine, working, toiling, with the rest of the team. But my point is this: a lot of people wanted this guy to be captain. You know what has been synonymous with our forwards, especially our forward leaders in this team. They've been whining for the past couple of games, whining to referees, whining, 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 and that's exactly what he did when he came off. Any player who is disappointed not to play 90 minutes, I would love to have you on my team because I don't want a player on my team who does not want to play 90 minutes. But you must still let your level of intelligence allow you to understand that there are other players on the team and you still need to take it on chin because it's about the team. It's not
Exactly.
about me. I think the main problem was he just got an assist and he wanted to have the other 30 minutes to have the other 20 minutes to have an opportunity to get on the score
Score
sheet. I
sheets.
think
Yeah.
that is what pissed him off. But my thing is you came off, you're sulking, and what bothered me is the fact that your team is 2-0 up and you're coming off and you're behaving like that. You're supposed to
Exactly.
be we're supposed to be you're preaching team and all about team. And then you
Mm-hmm.
go and you sit and you sulk and Ralph has to come and whisper in your ear, we scored a third goal and you're still there sitting, sulking. Ralph had
Exactly.
to come and comfort you. This is absolute nonsense. It's like, man, grow up. Grow
Phil,
up.
Phil, Phil. Yeah, we can't hear you. Your volume's low.
you realize when that third goal scored, you see that the camera zoomed in on Ralph talking to Ronaldo though.
Correct.
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes. He
Yes.
was whispering in his ears almost like he
In
had
my
to be
mind,
comforting.
in my mind, it's
It's
like, hey, it's
ridiculous.
you watch it like, hey, listen, okay, you got your game time. Let's calm down here. It's all right.
Chill
Okay,
out,
you
chill
didn't score
out,
a goal, but it's all
chill
right.
out,
You were winning. Let's
chill
calm down
out.
here.
And
I
Ronaldo
mean,
obviously Ronaldo would know that there are cameras on you. You know there are cameras on you. Why are you giving the media something else to speak about after the game? Let the
exactly.
focus
So
be on the
you
focus
know,
be on the win.
yeah. This whole situation in itself is just gonna put an asterisk over that win, and it's gonna be like United win, but Ronaldo whines, and it's like Ralph and
Exactly,
Ronnie falling out, or something
exactly,
something along those sensational headlines that the Sun and the
exactly.
Mirror, some other stupid tabloid is
Yeah.
probably gonna put up. It
Why
doesn't
make
it
it
doesn't
about
bode
you?
well. It doesn't bode well for team harmony. It doesn't look. It
Exactly.
doesn't paint a good picture at the situation at Manchester United, which already very looks pensive and very tense at the way things are going because after
Yeah.
the whole week where we've had players saying that they don't like the system and they want to leave, and it's like
And what I think too,
while we
Greg,
did
is
win,
that
good.
what I think too is that if you're seeing this type of behavior from him in front of cameras, what do you think is happening behind the scenes in the locker room? You
God
don't you
alone
think that
knows.
that
God
that that,
alone
that
knows.
behavior that behavior, I'm sure it's exacerbated a bit. I am sure. We're just not privy to it.
Hmm.
We are not seeing it, but we got a glimpse today, which is what we very rarely get. Because I mean, Cristiano is a he's a PR genius, but at the same time,
Hmm.
the little moments tell you all about what you need to know about a person. We saw who Cristiano Ronaldo was today. It
Hmm.
wasn't about team. It was about him. It was about
Exactly.
him.
They say you're looking out for number one at the end of the day, and in
Yeah,
his mind,
yeah,
he knows he has a rep to protect. But
correct.
when it's a team sport, sometimes you kind of have to allow your selfishness and your ego to kind of get out of the way in those instances. And say good evening
Yeah.
to Penelope Julian, who's tuned in as well too. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like, share, comment on the videos as well too. Give us your opinions on certain things. It it was refreshing to see us actually win a game for a change, and win a game in that sense where we saw three good goals. I know the last couple of games that we've had, Bruno scored a tremendous goal and was unfortunately it was a 2-2 draw because of a defensive lapse. What I think Ralph is trying to find the best way to get these players on song. And he did say he was using a 4-3-3 today. Did it when you guys looked at the game? Did it look like a 4-3-3 system, or did it look like the same old 4-2-3-1 again?
Same 4-2-3-1 in my opinion.
Yeah, it looked the same thing. It looked the same thing.
So I mean, at the
But
end of the day,
I think that he definitely realizes that this team does not have the, especially our forwards, don't have the energy to play. And they see that 4-2-2. It requires too much effort from these guys. So he needed to consolidate a bit. He really needed to consolidate a bit.
yeah, it comes to a point where it's like you have these guys here. Some of these guys are supposed to be very quick. Some of the PCS players in the
Yeah,
league in some regards,
yeah,
and it's like you can't even put a little extra energy to do a little bit more defensive work because you're so worried about getting forward. The best
yeah.
way to be defensive is when you do it from the front as well too. Because if
Front.
everybody else is everybody's defending as as a team, your backline is not that heavily exposed when it comes to counters. But
Correct.
it's just something that has to be initially ingrained, and of course, the players that don't fall in line will eventually
Will
find
fall
their way
out.
out the door.
Yeah, of
Yeah?
course.
So it's one of those things. But today's a good day. 3 points, 3 goals, 3 very good goals. I can't be mad entirely at the performance. We just need to fix
Yeah,
up ourselves when it comes to 45 minutes because we cannot be a 45-minute team going forward. Like I've said before, better teams will punish us if we don't be more disciplined and we aren't more clinical when it comes to instances like that.
yeah.
All right, so guys, it has been almost an hour. We're looking to wind down here. Closing thoughts, Big Phil.
Can we kick on from here? Can we use this momentum to carry forward to this West Ham game? Because I'm not thinking about any other
That's a
game.
good question.
I'm not thinking about any other games for the rest of the season. I'm taking it one game at a time. Can we
At
take
the
this forward
time.
to West Ham? Because
Was that
West
not
Ham,
my motto from the beginning of this season? One game at a
West,
time. I've been saying that since last season. But that's how we have to approach every game from here on in because we can't think that any game is a walkthrough game. Because we have to remember that we're not playing like Manchester City is playing, is where like almost every team is going to be like, okay, how do we deal with this onslaught? Almost every
correct.
team is looking at us and thinking, okay, these guys have their flaws. How do we exploit them? So
And West
now it's
Ham,
a
West Ham,
situation.
West Ham is going to be a big game. West Ham is competing for the top four.
Yes, they
So
are.
why
Yeah,
why 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 should West Ham be like, oh, they're Manchester United? We should bow down to them? Nope. David Moyes has a point to prove to Old Trafford. That's all I gotta
Yeah,
say.
and he
yeah,
already has a win against us, knocking us out in the Carabao Cup. So
Yep.
he'll probably want to add more insult to injury, beating us at home, because we did win at the at the London Stadium this season with the goals from Ronaldo and Jesse Lingard. So they're gonna want to probably exact some form of revenge in that regard and rub salt in the wounds. It's gonna be interesting to see. Tonio, let me get your thoughts on what's
Um,
going on.
I fully agree with Phil also about just looking forward to the next game alone because we can't really look too far simply because I look at Manchester United like a recovering drug addict. Yeah, you hope they don't relapse. You hope they don't relapse. You don't want them to relapse. You're hoping for the best. But there's something in the back of your mind that always just makes you like,
Yeah.
just let's just hold a
So
string. So
so my so
let's
my
just
question so my
let's
next question to you this Tonio, what step are we on?
I think we are now looking to approach the people that we've been wronged or who we have wronged to apologize. And that is the fans. That is the fans. And you can only take that one step at a time. So go from this game to that game. We had a good second half. Let's carry the second half into the West Ham game. Let's not be dictated by teams. The easiest way to be the likes of teams like Brentford, West Ham, Southampton, you know what you have to match them with? The Watfords, the effort that they put in because they
Exactly.
aren't better teams. They are not better teams on paper, but they are
Mm-mm.
better teams in terms of the effort that
And
they give.
mentality.
It's not about ego. That's why Jesse did so well there. He got to go there and just express himself, play for a team who actually wanted him to be there. It's sad to see what is going on there in closing also. I really, so if he does go to Newcastle, which is a talk for another day, I wish him all the best. I really wish him all the best. I really wish him all
And
the best. But you never know with this team.
Yeah, and it's something that we definitely have to get into more discussion in on the
Yeah,
United Hour
of course.
tomorrow, because this is something that has to be seriously addressed. The mindset that players think, okay, because they're at Manchester United, okay, I made it. I'm at the big time now. I can do what I want. But you still have a level of responsibility. You still have a level to maintain as a Manchester United player, because when anybody sees this badge, they look at it with prestige, with pride, and that's what they
Yeah,
expect players who are wearing this on their chest to play when they're out there. These days where we're seeing this lethargic, this lazy mentality with the football that's being played, it's coming. It's hurting not just fans. It's hurting the club. It's hurting everybody involved around it, because it's a
yeah,
poor reflection of what Manchester United have established as a Premier League team, as a team in Europe. So
yeah,
we would like to think that these guys will look at this going forward, and hopefully this win today gives them that extra bit of confidence going into that, because we, like you guys said, West Ham is not going to be an easy task.
at
Those guys
all,
are going to
at
come for
all,
blood. Those guys are going to come
at
for
all.
everything possible. So we
Yeah,
have to be mindful of that going in, and hopefully this takes it all in that position. So in closing, we just want to say thank you to everybody who's tuned in. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to again to Carlton, Christian, Jason, Penny. Thank you all for commenting. Don't forget again to like and share our content for everybody to see. Once again, we thank you again. We will be doing our regular show tomorrow at 6 o'clock. Chad and the rest of the gang will be available. I'll be there, God willing. So again, Phil, Tonio, thank you guys for joining
okay,
me. And as President Chad would say, Red Devils, we don't die, we
we
multiply.
multiply,
Take
baby.
care, everyone.
Yeah, man.
Hey, if you appreciate what we're doing here at the United Hour, please like, please subscribe, and let's grow this community.